Hello and welcome to VK Punk Wrestling, your new and soon to be recognized top source and champion for all things wrestling and sports entertainment. Because who needs a fancy streaming service when you've got us in your corner? Please slam that thumbs up button and drop kick the subscribe button into next week. Then give the bell icon a flying elbow so you're in the know every time we go live, because missing a VK Punk video is like botching a moonsault in front of a hot crowd, and we can't have that. I am your host, the one, the only, Vin C. Punk. And I am at the end of a slammed week where I have just been overworked and I am just exhausted, and I have another full week ahead of me next week, but we're going to do this and get this out. Welcome to today's show, where we will be breaking down last night's SmackDown in our traditional YAYY BOOO review, straight from Chicago, hotter than a steel chair in a Texas death match. BT Dubs, a quick nod to our champion here, AK Havoc, who better hold on to that title tighter than a promoter holds a paycheck, because I'm charging towards their WrestleMania. We're only 2 weeks out, and that gold's practically begging for me. Honestly, it's been mine in spirit since day one, because it should have been me. Anyway, VK Punk Wrestling, we the ones for wrestling content. Now, before we get rolling, let's shine a nice spotlight on our incredible sponsor, Capgo Championship Belts. Capgo forges title replicas so stunning they'd make a heel champ jealous enough to turn face. Wrestling, UFC, boxing, if it's a belt, they've got it. Dreaming of something unique, their man Abdul is a belt crafting maestro who'll whip up a one-of-a-kind masterpiece just for you, like the custom title we've got cooking for this channel. But there's more than just that. They got all sorts of gear: shirts, vests, jackets, gloves, masks, shoes, Macho King crown. Really incredible stuff. I've stocked up on their gear. Check my old video for the receipts. It's all championship quality. You can visit them at www.capgointernational.com. Their Facebook and email are in the credits to this very video, and tell them Vin's got your back. All right, so let's get into SmackDown. Sound the bell and kick off this review. Tonight's SmackDown, of course, is steaming down the road to WrestleMania, lands in Chicago, Illinois, just 2 weeks away from the biggest show of the year. And what's in store? Let's find out. We open with epic crowd shots and arena vibes as Joe Tessitore lays out the card. Superstars strut in to the building. You get Braun Strowman, Jacob Fatu, LA Knight, Motor City Machine Guns, DIY, B-Fab, Naomi. It's a lineup stacked like a triple-decker cage match, and Joe's with Wade Barrett on commentary, and the Chicago faithful are already chanting for CM Punk louder than a yes chant in a Daniel Bryan comeback. They toss to a video package recapping the three-way feud between Punk, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins. Little bit of a rewatch alert. When Roman said Punk should thank him for the main event and not all the people, I did not notice originally that Paul Heyman in the background kind of mouthed no and shook his head before Punk actually got on one knee and did thank Roman. A sly little twist that I missed the first time around, but something very interesting and noteworthy to call to. Back in the arena, though, the Chicago, it's in Chicago, so you got to start with Punk, or the crowd will hijack the show with chants till the credits roll. His music hits. His music hits, and the hometown pop is so loud it could wake up a coma patient in the cheap seats. Punk grabs a mic. Chicago's better than those overseas crowds, he says. He says he's not supposed to be here, but I am, and nobody's making me leave. Then the bombshell. I don't know if you heard this, but I'm in the main event of WrestleMania. The crowd roars, you deserve it, but Punk shuts that down. He says, I've earned it. He scaled mountains where he's not supposed to be, and now the grind really begins. He shouts out AJ Lee and Larry the Dog, because every champ needs a loyal pooch. Punk promises to whoop Roman and Seth's ass at Mania. And then Paul Heyman's voice booms. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Heyman dubs Punk his best friend in the world. Roman's probably somewhere plotting a spear through a wall. ECW chants erupt as Paul flips it. Don't ask what Chicago could do for the wise man, but what the wise man can do for you. He insists that Punk does belong here in the ring, in Chicago, in the WrestleMania main event. Paul runs through his history, right, with the new bloodline, uh, the War Games favor he called in for Punk, and now he's just got one last, favor to ask of Punk. He says, "What is the favor that I owe you?" Punk grins and says it'll probably affect Roman somehow, so I'll spill it to his face when he shows up. Roman's AWOL, typical tribal chief timing, and all that. So for this spot, we're gonna give it a yay. Two of the all-time mic masters, Punk and Heyman, amazing. Lighting it up like a pyro display gone rogue. Even though we didn't get the favor reveal at this moment, this segment was pure fire. The crowd was live and buzzing. Punk grabbed the camera and sent him into a frenzy, while Heyman played to him like a veteran booker calling an audible. Sure, it's open-ended with no payoff yet, but that's the hook keeping us on edge. I'm calling it now. The favor's gotta be Heyman walking out with Punk at Mania, leaving Roman without his wise man for that epic entrance. Now, if you paid attention to anything, a really long time ago, Heyman told Punk that he would be there if Punk ever walked down for WrestleMania in the main event. But imagine the drama. Will Paul turn on Roman? Will Paul turn on Punk? Will Paul pull a swerve on both of them and end up with Seth? There's so many directions this could take, each wilder than the last. It's like a TLC match with extra ladders. It's got everyone clutching their seat cushions tighter than a fan at a contract signing gone wrong. I'm absolutely here for every second of this storyline. Next, we get like a little debut vignette for Rey Fenix. Let you know that that's coming up next before we go into a break. When we come back to live, Nathan Frazier from NXT Tag Team Champion with Axiom is in the ring. Fenix gets an entrance, and his entrance is so dazzling, it's like a pyro budget win all in. WWE is clearly banking on these Lucha Brothers, man. Both Fenix and Penta have gotten intros flashier than a Ric Flair robe since coming to the Fed. But Fenix has arrived, and pairing him with Frazier is a smart move. Two high flyers ready to steal the show. Fenix starts hot, flexing his skills with a standing Frankensteiner that pops the crowd. I thought it was amazing too. Frazier botches a dive, however, when he gets his foot snagged on the rope, but Fenix keeps the pace flying. During the picture-in-picture break, Fenix locks in a submission to stay in control. Post-break, they're battling up top, and Frazier, I think, lands a superplex and a neck breaker for a near fall. But then he whiffs with a Fenix splash, and Fenix capitalizes, dumping him on his head for another near fall before sealing it with the Mexican muscle buster. Post-match, Byron Saxton's in the ring and says, "How does it feel to debut?" Fenix says tonight's more than a debut. He's waited his whole life to say, "I am WWE." So plain and simple, this gets a yes. This match was a Lucha Libre fireworks show. Yeah, there were a couple of miscues. Some spots didn't hit exactly as planned, like Frazier's dive turning into a rope tango. But overall, it was pretty amazing, and Fenix's debut was a strong start, and putting him with Frazier, another small high flyer, was a brilliant call to showcase both of their skills, but especially Fenix in this manner. They put on a good wrestle, right? Even with those hiccups, and it kicked off Fenix's WWE career with some serious momentum. The post-match interview was a little hard to catch. Dude's very passionate, and very passionate, and his passion is very clear. But I couldn't make out every single word that he said. Still, the message landed. It's a new era with Fenix in the WWE, and that's a big win for the fans and the roster. Backstage, Legado del Fantasma's chatting, and Santa vows to book Berto versus Rey Fenix. That's gonna be nice. But it's break time. We return to a vignette of Drew McIntyre rocking an eye patch like a pirate who just lost a bar fight. He growls that Priest stole his Mania shot. He needs to pray, and everyone knows that when Drew prays, bad things happen. Very ominous from Drew. Next, a video recap last week's Braun Strowman versus Jacob Fatu clash. Byron's backstage with Braun, who's hyped to win tonight's last man standing match and snag the #1 contender spot because he's never lost a last man standing match. They made sure to emphasize on that so much. The new Bloodline crashes the party, trash talking, but LA Knight jumps in, roasting Solo. The YAYYs, more like nah nah nahs. It's a verbal brawl until Knight heads to the ring to face Tama Tonga. When the bell rings, Knight is on fire, but Tama slams him into the turnbuckle to take over. Tama powers up for a near fall, but Knight bounces Tama's head off the buckle like a piñata. The action spills outside, and Knight smashes Tama into the announce desk. Solo distracts Knight as they were getting back into the ring on the apron, letting Tama nail him and send him crashing into the desk as we hit another break. When we come back, Tama's still dominating, but Knight battles back with a roll-up for a near fall. Tama lands moves for another near fall, but Knight fires up, neck breaker, power slam, elbow drop, Solo tries to metal, gets taken out, and Tama swings. Knight ducks and hits the BFT for the win. So we're going to go ahead and give this a yay. Clean finish, 2 underrated studs killing it, and a match that delivered. LA Knight's charisma shines brighter than a spotlight on a title belt. He is magnetic, and it's no surprise he's building towards Mania. Tama Tonga, though, the dude doesn't get enough credit or airtime he deserves. Coming in with the Samoan Dynasty has stuck him near the bottom of that stacked lineup. Even Solo, who had a big push brewing, has slipped with Roman and Jacob Fatu hogging the spotlight now. But don't sleep on Tama. He's resourceful, his character and gimmick are top notch, and he's an amazing wrestler. He's just getting buried under the family pecking order with so many ahead of him in line for screen time. Here he showed up big, did his job well, and made this match pop. The layout was smart, Solo's distractions added heat, but Knight going over, keeping his momentum rolling was the way to go. Tama didn't get the W, but he still looks strong. This played out perfectly and gets a big yay. Next, Saxon's backstage with Paul Heyman probing about Punk's favor. Paul's clueless, but he stares down the camera. Whatever the favor is, the answer is yes. Suddenly, Roman rolls up, but guess what? It's not Roman, it's Seth Rollins, cackling. Not who you were expecting, huh? He mocks Paul's rough week while bragging about his own, says, I've got a plan. Seth says the favor affects him just as much as it affects Roman Reigns and wants in on the reveal. In the arena, Charlotte Flair enters, looking like Cher after a thrift store raid. We go into a break. We get a cryptic vignette, the Roman numeral 4 coins in the eye sockets, a weird symbol. Aleister Black vibes, maybe. I'm still not too sure about this. I was trying to get a good shot of that symbol or that logo, whatever it was. Still not positive who it is. Maybe I'll do some Googling and find out. But it would be really cool if it was Aleister Black. And we're only 2 weeks out from Mania. That would be a hell of a time to bring him back. Okay, well, when we get back, Tiffany Stratton joins Charlotte for a promo, with Wade Barrett moderating for some reason. Wade asks why Charlotte picked Tiffany and if she regrets it. Charlotte's all condescending Charlotte Flair. There's no comparison between me and Tiffany. Tiffany fires back. Your biggest rival's the fans. You'll never win them over. You'll always be second to your dad. And at Mania, you'll be second to me. Charlotte's booed into next week, getting some real Dominic Mysterio level heat here, and they will not let her talk. It's all glorious chaos. Tiffany shines and says at 25, I'm walking into Mania as champ. Charlotte mocks her squeaky voice. Tiff calls her a Nepo baby, but Charlotte crowns herself the Nepo queen. Tiffany bails out of the ring, and as she does, just as this segment's about to air, Charlotte jabs, why's your boyfriend in my DMs, talking about Ludwig Kaiser, who also posted something today on Twitter X, a real don't flatter yourself kind of thing, because that was a low blow. So I'm going to give a yay to this. At least a partial. I love the segment. Most of it anyway. The crowd drowning Charlotte with boos was sweeter than a victory roll-up after a 20-minute classic. And I'm right there with them, because I can't stand her either. She's supposed to be the best, but the universe hates her guts. And Tiffany putting her in her place was pure gold. This showed how much everyone's over Charlotte's overrated act. She's been coasting for way too long. The yay is for that reckoning finally hitting her. Tiffany shining as the new blood the fans crave. But then we have for Charlotte's cheap shots, mocking Tiff's voice, and that desperate Kaiser's in my DMs line felt petty and personal. It's like she's scrambling to stay relevant, and it's really not working. She came off like an asshat grasping at straws, to be honest with you. Charlotte's gimmick is stale, as last week's concessions. This crowd is done with her, always swooping in for a title. They want Tiffany, not this played out Flair shtick. She needs a total revamp to matter in this era. Eat it, Charlotte, and take that condescending nonsense with you. Backstage is where we cut to, and Nick Aldis announces a women's tag team gauntlet for the number one contendership. Right, and then the Street Profits hit the ramp to come out to scout that Motor City Machine Guns versus DIY match. The Machine Guns jump ahead with quick tags and double teams. Shelly mounts Ciampa for punches, sends him outside, and chases him around the ring. Gargano spears, does his little slingshot spears Shelly, flipping the script for DIY. Post-ad, Sabin is battling both DIY guys, and action spills outside, and Sabin dives through Shelly's legs to take out the DIY guys. The Motor City Machine Gun racks up a near fall with slick teamwork. Sabin's knocked off the top rope, however, and a turnbuckle pad has been exposed. Ciampa tries to use it, but this backfires. DIY regains control, goes for meat in the middle, but Sabin dodges. The Motor City Machine Guns hit some double team maneuvers that are always amazing. Ciampa tries a rope assisted pin, but the ref catches it. Ciampa eats the exposed turnbuckle, and Motor City Machine Guns score the win, taunting the Street Profits after. Unfortunately, as good as this match was, because I really don't understand the division, okay? The wrestling was good, and the Motor City Machine Guns winning is always a treat. I love seeing them in the spot. But SmackDown's tag division is a mess. It's like a battle royal with no eliminations. Last week, the Pretty Deadly flopped in their title shot, so they're just background noise now. Motor City Machine Guns and DIY are the only teams worth anything, really. But they were sidelined during the Pretty Deadly push. Now they're back fighting for a shot, and it feels like the division's just these four teams playing hot potato with the belts and number one contendership. There are other teams out there, but it's just the same old shuffle all the time. Where's the depth? The action here was good. There's no denying that, with solid tag work and a fun finish, but the bigger picture's a letdown. This division needs a shakeup, not more the same. We go backstage. Mello and Miz are trash talking the Pretty Deadly, drawing local heat, saying you're like the Chicago Bears, big hype and no wins. Pretty Deadly clapped back, calling Miz and Mello the Leonardo DiCaprio of tag teams, stuck dating the same old moves. Miz lands a lame catchphrase that doesn't make much sense. We go back into the arena where BFAB enters with Michin. It's wild to think that BFAB started pretty much as Hit Row's valet, and now she's the last one of that group, and she's wrestling? Naomi's out to her usual tune, which really put me off. If you're going to give Naomi this big remake, why is she still using the glow music? Get that out of her. But Jade Cargill ambushes her mid-entrance. Somehow Naomi makes it to the ring for the match. The bell rings and BFAB pounces on a distracted Naomi for an early lead and a near fall. BFAB is dominating here, another near fall. She misses a kick, however, in the corner, and her leg gets caught on the top rope. Another near fall, right? Naomi traps her in a tree of woe at that point, stomps her into the corner, and hits a basement lung blower for the win. Post-match, Naomi calls out Jade, who jumps her, nearly hits Jaded before security intervenes. Jade wipes out security trying to get to Naomi, and Nick Aldis books a Naomi versus Jade match for Mania. So, I also have to give this one. You get some boos. This match pretty much was a letdown. Underwhelming is a wet firecracker. BFAB had control almost the whole time, looking sharp and on fire, and she's clearly improving and getting better, and she was dominating. Then it flipped so fast, with Naomi snagging the win out of nowhere, and it just didn't click. I don't like the way that matches go like this. I don't understand how people can just control the whole match and then lose it in 3 seconds. Naomi's bad. She's stagnant as ever. No growth in years. We thought we were going to see some potential with this new gimmick and stuff, but she's still just not doing it. I was excited if you've seen the previous videos, but it doesn't seem like this is really going anywhere. She's still coming out to the same music. But BFAB is green, but she's showing real progress. BFAB deserved better than this quick turnaround loss after carrying the match. Naomi should not be near the top of the card with this kind of performance. The post-match with Jade was fine, setting up Mania, but the match itself, trash. Boo all the way. Damian Priest gets a video promo next where he runs down Drew after Drew's promo ran him down earlier. He says Drew screws himself, then blames everyone else. Drew's going from victim to my victim. Short and sweet, no yay boo for that segment. Nick Aldis is in the ring next, however, dreading his next task. He invites Kevin Owens out, and Kevin Owens comes out. He's rocking a Finn Balor t-shirt and a Bret Hart jacket. He grabs a mic and says, I've wrestled for 25 years. I've given everything every time I step in between these ropes. He lists his accolades, but says there's a price. Every wrestler has this price. His neck's been jacked for about 4 months. He's needing surgery, sidelining him for Mania versus Randy Orton. Is this a work or a shoot? Can't really tell yet. He thanks the crowd, drops the mic, but Randy's music hits. Orton stalks out, and they share the apron for just a second. But then KO bails to the back. Randy gets into the ring, and Aldis tells Randy that his Mania match is off. Get a little bit of silence, and then BAM! RKO to Aldis. Mania feud incoming? I mean, there's so much here, and I don't know. However, we are going to give it a yay because it does have so much potential. It's like a mystery opponent in the Royal Rumble. This segment got legs to go anywhere, and every direction is intriguing. Is it a swerve to get KO versus RKO at Mania anyway? Will KO bounce back for the match? Or does Aldis lace up his boots for a WWE debut after Randy's That's for Next timeline for 3 years ago finally paid off tonight? If you guys don't remember that, he gave Aldis an RKO in 2022, I believe, and got a $50,000 fine. Randy gave him a check for $100,000. Nick Aldis was like, hey, you gave me double the amount. And Randy said, that's for next time. So Randy finally paid off next time tonight. I mean, KO's neck injury could be a work. It feels too convenient. But if it's real, that's nuts. Either way, Randy RKO'ing Aldis out of nowhere was a chef's kiss moment. With 2 weeks to build, this story is hopefully building. And I'm pumped to see where it lands. Tons of cool possibility here. Okay, I know last week I mentioned the new announcer for SmackDown, and I still don't remember his name. But the new announcer guy introduces the last man standing match, Braun Strowman and Jacob Fatu. Fatu charges down the ramp, or charges up the ramp, during Braun's entrance, starting hot. Fatu drops Braun early with 2 moonsault. Braun gets up at 8. Post-break, both men are down, and the count begins. Braun rolls out of the ring, grabs a table, and sets it up in the corner. Fatu nearly spears him through it, but Braun's big boot sends Fatu outside. He's down on the outside. He gets an 8 count. Fatu hip attacks Braun, tries to hip attack Braun to the timekeeper's area, but was met with another boot. Braun counters with a chair. With the chair, and then choo-choo through the barricade himself. Both of them are down. They're both up at 9. They brawl into the crowd, atop the crates. Braun suplexes Fatu through a table. Both are down. They get up for the 9 count. We make it back to the ring, and Fatu does a hip attack, sending Braun through that table that he set up. But Braun misses the 10 count, and Fatu wins. So this definitely gets a yay. Big meaty men slapping meat. This was intense. Everything a last man standing match should be, with the exception of the time, seemed a little short. There's tables, there's chairs, there's crowd brawling. It had all the toys and chaos you'd want from these two behemoths duking it out. The action was nonstop, a real slugfest that kept you glued. The ending felt a little bit abrupt. I didn't think a hip attack through a table was gonna end it that quickly, and it was a bit short-sighted for such a brutal build-up. Still, it seems to put a bow on this feud, with Fatu heading to Mania to face LA Knight for the US title, but Braun's never done until he says so. So could this roll past the last man standing stipulation? Who knows, but it's been a wild ride, and I am stoked to see what's next. This match delivered big time, yay all day. Okay, we get a Cody and Cena recap. Lame finish to a fire promo last week. I'm gonna roll into a video about that kind of thing coming in soon, about how Cody Rhodes was just so easily able to put Cena in that crossroads Monday night after a missed clothesline attempt from Cena. I just don't understand how these guys can just nail their finishing move on someone and get them locked in to do it, and when there's nothing going on. It's not like they just had a big match and they've been wrestling for 15 minutes and they got put up. But he just missed with a clothesline. How do you get put into a crossroads after missing a clothesline and not get out of it? I don't really understand. The announcers kind of run down next week's card, or what we know of it so far. Backstage, Heyman's at the loading docks waiting for Roman. Saxon gets snubbed by Heyman. Post-break, Roman arrives. He storms past Heyman and straight to the ring. No poses, no pyro, all business. He sticks out his hand for Paul to give him the mic. He demands that Chicago acknowledges him. And Chicago does. Chicago acknowledges Roman Reigns in the town of CM Punk. He asks Paul if he is here. The crowd chants for Punk, of course. Roman rants, Punk wouldn't be back in WWE or in the main event without me. He trashes Chicago and Punk, daring him out to settle the favor that Paul owes him. Silence, right? But then Seth Rollins' music hits. Seth strolls out in a plain outfit. As plain as an outfit for Seth Rollins can get anyway. He gets goofy and roasts Roman a little bit. You're disconnected from reality. He says Roman failed to bury Punk, so Seth will. Roman calls Seth untrustworthy. Punk's here because of a promise to the wise man. Punk's music finally does hit, and he's in the ring with a mic ready. Punk dives into the favor. Paul Heyman refused to fire him years ago, shaping his career. Punk says he's forcing Roman out of his comfort zone to deal with us. Heyman's in Punk's corner at Mania. But Roman laughs. He says, that's the favor? He says Paul loves him and needs him. Let this fool down easy. Heyman looks crushed, tearing up. Roman demands a no, but Paul chokes out, no, my tribal chief, I cannot do that. Roman snaps and kind of lunges at Heyman, but Punk gets involved and nails a GTS. Roman sells it like a champ, sprawled out way awkwardly. What a sell by Roman Reigns here. I cannot put that over enough. Punk stares down Seth, who bails, and then we fade to black. So this was another one where I don't see how Roman Reigns, with no match, nothing, just gets put up for a GTS and gets nailed. How did he not wiggle out and get out of the ring? I feel like a bunch of stuff has gone into this. And when we do the video for that, I'll explain it a little bit more, because I think it definitely needs addressing. I think it has to be... It just has to be addressed that these guys are getting put up for finishers when nothing else is going on but talking. Like, I don't understand it. I feel a certain way about it. There's no way it should be happening. Anyway, this segment definitely gets a yay. This was an emotional roller coaster. All the drama, all the man games, and Paul Heyman stealing the show as the best to ever do it. These four, Punk, Roman, Seth, and Heyman, are the perfect crew for this angle. They sold it like $1,000,000. Heyman's heartbreak torn between his tribal chief and his best friend. Spot on. No shock there. He's a legend at this. Seth playing it cool, watching the chaos unfold, fits his character perfectly, and keeps his beef with Punk simmering. Roman flipping out over Heyman's defiance, going after him like that, is peak tribal chief, showing how quick he turns on anyone, even Paul, when crossed. Punk stepping up for Heyman with that GTS was clutch, and Roman's awkward sell was art. Dude looked like he got flattened by a truck. I really can't put it over enough. It was amazing. This story is accelerating fast, and the stakes are climbing every week, and I'm hyped for the next 2 weeks till Mania. This is shaping up to be a show stealer on the card. Huge yay. We'll go ahead and hit that button again. Right, so overall, the whole show, the whole Friday Night SmackDown from Chicago, Illinois is going to get a big yay. Now, this definitely, into comparison to last week's, this show gets a massive yay, maybe boosted exactly by how much better it was than last week's Snooze Fest. Compared to that mess, this was spectacular, and it was spectacular. Tonight's card had it all. High-flying actions with Phoenix debut, big meat men slapping meat, and Braun versus Fatu, and a killer storyline, killer storytelling pushing us forward towards Mania. It was significantly stronger than last week's flop. I don't know what went wrong there, but this was the SmackDown we needed. Good all around. Building hype for the big show. Yay. Yay all the way around, guys. So, guys and gals, thanks for sticking with me for this Yay Boo review of SmackDown from Chicago, Illinois. We're getting back to normalish after me being kind of late on stuff. Life has just been piling on like a 10-man tag team gone wrong. Work's a beast. Personal stuff has been heavy. And dad duty is just nonstop. Sometimes it's like I'm stuck in a submission hold with no ropes to grab. But we push through. Better days are coming. If you're overwhelmed, reach out. Your mental toughness is as vital as a wrestler's stamina. Be kind. You never know who's in a cage match with their own demons. But VK Punk's got you. If you need to talk and you don't have anybody else that you can, or you don't feel like you have anybody else that you can talk to, hit me up. My name is Vince Punk on Facebook. Or you can hit up any VK Punk social media. You're a champ for stepping into life's ring. Keep swinging because you're the MVP. All right, guys, thanks. Thank you so much for sticking this out with me. Like, share, and subscribe. I am Vince Punk for VK Punk Wrestlings, and we'll see you next time. VK Punk Wrestling, we the ones for wrestling content.